Hello, I'm Camille McIntyre. I'm here on Staten Island, New York, and my husband and I are pastors of our church for about 17 years now, and I have a question for you. Do you have a passion for living out your dream? I know that sometimes waiting for the timing to act on a dream can be so exhausting. Recently I read something about monarch butterflies and how to release them out into the wild. It was fascinating. There are so many steps involved to it. It takes like a month for it to go from the egg to the full adulthood, and then waiting for its wings to dry before you can handle it right out of the chrysalis. And there's a correct temperature that's needed to release it out into. There's also this process of like how to coax it out onto your hand. And the reason that people are raising and releasing these monarch butterflies is that the species population is rapidly decreasing, and there's a goal that we want monarch butterflies to populate all different areas. On top of that, those areas that they're living in are shrinking, so the species is declining, and humans have always caused plant and animal extinctions, but it will take humans acknowledging their mistakes to make necessary changes. People are not, giving up, but they're taking steps to try to save them. It made me think about how important it is to take steps when things are dying. Sometimes you feel like there are certain instances, like especially in my life, that it looked like I was hitting a dead end in a relationship, or whether or not goals and dreams were going to be able to be completed. How do you know when a dream has died? How do you decide if you should try to resurrect it? Personal growth occurs when you come to the end of yourself or something, and by beginning something new. What does that even mean? I think about the seasons that are changing. Autumn turns into winter right now, and it gives evidence that the plant life is dying. And spring is my favorite season because everything's coming back to life again. And winter is when the ground is lying fallow, all the color is gone. Only evergreens and other bushes like that really last through the winter. It turns into spring, and then death turns into life. It's new beginnings. Knowing your season is important in planning to pursue your dreams. And I myself, and many I know, are going through hard times right now. I've had discussions with friends that cannot wait until this current season of struggle to pass. Some have lost jobs. People are suffering through illnesses, a loss of loved ones. A friend of mine told me she feels as if she's watching her dreams die. Waiting for those dreams to come to pass is one of the hardest things sometimes to endure. Have you ever been told to hold on to your dreams, or like never give up, reaching for your goals? Always, sometimes you come to a place when you realize you may need to let go of a dream because of the timing of it, or the opportunity maybe has passed, or maybe you procrastinated or on something. I know I do that, worrying so much about these kinds of things. Just completing a task in the first place, it'll take half the time you put into it worrying. So I find myself in that predicament, sometimes wondering, why do I do this? It's this vicious cycle. How do you break the cycle? With the new year approaching, we make resolutions, right? It's like this fresh start. You turn this new page. Determining whether or not it's time to move on or to keep going will feel so much harder, because if you haven't resolved about those dreams. But you still have to maybe have a spark inside your soul, I think. It's kind of a hope in your heart. If you want to dust yourself off and just press on towards a dream, you need to take action steps. Sometimes you have to decide whether it's not time to move on. There's one thing that I love to look upward and inward. What does that mean? I always open up my heart to the Lord, and to God. I'm a woman of faith, right? What is it that I'm looking at? I need to honestly look at it and say, do I have a passion for it? Like when I first started it, do I need to let this dream go? Is it something worth continuing to pursue? When you ask God, He listens, and He's always got the best plans for you anyway. Ask for His guidance. There's a second step that I love. You have to acknowledge that first step of recognizing. Are you pretending to pursue this dream that it's going to magically happen? We're not taking practical action. Sometimes it's wishful thinking. Sometimes you hide your head in the sand. I do that with procrastination. It never gets you anywhere. There's a third thing that I like to look at, and you have to decide. There's a line in one of my favorite movies of Something Borrowed where this main character, she acknowledges her love for her love interest, and whether or not they should move forward in their relationship. She tells him, do what you want to do. Live your life your way, but just decide. So sometimes we have to learn to take choices, make the best choices in our life. Take responsibility. If you don't start taking the initiative on, in your own life, you become this prisoner of indecisiveness. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I myself do the same thing. Sometimes you have to be open up to changes that can enhance your life based on what is in your best interest. There's a fourth thing. Sometimes you have to mourn. Sometimes you have to decide to let that dream go. I know, and sometimes you'll have to feel that pain. Don't allow shame or disappointment to continue indefinitely. Let it go. It might be time for a new dream. You never know. There's a fifth thing that I like to look at: growth. Grow from what you've learned. Look inward. Acknowledge that maybe there's a problem. Decide whether or not to move on and to mourn. Pursue the dream or not. But you have to decide, like I said. Use what you've learned to propel you forward. Circumstances, struggles, sometimes incremental movement is better than none at all. Proverbs 17:22 says, a cheerful heart is a good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength. And let me tell you, that's the truth, because I've been exhausted and weary. There's another story in Haggai. It's 1:6, and it says, you have planted much, but harvest little. You eat, but are not satisfied. You drink, but are still thirsty. You put on clothes, and you can't get warm. Your wages disappear as though you were putting them in pockets filled with holes. In other words, you got to put your priorities in order. God first, family second, and your work is last. Sometimes it's a hard mindset to have, but there's always more as long as you have the breath. You're never too old to set a new dream or a new goal. That's C.S. Lewis. Okay, back to those butterflies. In order for them and other insects to fly, they have to open up their wings, right? There's like this spin that happens. It's like a propeller action. And the angle of their wings, it creates these vortices in the air like a little hurricanes. And the eyes of the hurricane gives this like kind of low pressure. And the air surrounding them, it lifts their body upwards. It's like, think about the hurricanes in your life, the storms of your life. Sometimes you have to use them to propel you forward. There's a song, A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, right? It's in that Cinderella movie. I love it so much. It was one of my favorite movies that my daughter and I used to love watching when she was a little girl. And it sets the stage for teaching her to reach her dreams. It taught me, the little girl in me, to reach for impossible dreams. Sometimes I have the idea that a wish is a dream, but a wish is not a dream. You have to make it become a reality. Walt Disney, of course, he was that quintessential dreamer. He had meager beginnings. He was a failed experimenter turned film pioneer and mogul, and he was fueled by this idea to never let naysayers stop his dreams. He had this trajectory from dream to reality. Sometimes it's hard to do that, but Cinderella was the perfect example. It had gone through a few reboots, and in 1922, long before their first movie, actually it was Snow White, that began his career right out of military. He had an office. He was feasting on cold beans for his meals, and he had an idea. He was watching mice going in and out of the garbage, and Mickey Mouse was born. Could you imagine? So 2 decades of hard work and many films later, he had still dreams within his heart. He actually took his house, his stock holdings, his furniture. He had everything. He sold everything in order to buy some land in California. And it was Disneyland that he opened up in 1955. It quickly became one of the world's most popular tourist attractions. He looked at his empire and he still wasn't done. In the 1960s, he purchased 27,000 acres of Florida swampland to begin another amusement park, Disney World. So there's so many lessons that you can learn from Disney's example of persistence and perseverance. And sometimes you have to look at your dreams and your aspirations. Do you have a particular dream that you've kept in your heart and you have not pursued? Because achieving a dream is a process. Some people seem to think that their dreams are unrealized just like that overnight, and that is rarely the case. There are many things that happen behind the scenes to have dreams come to pass. I've had dreams I kept on the back burner for so many years. The proverb says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. Sometimes you could feel haunted before taking that first step towards making your dream come true. So, I was also thinking there are many other reasons why we don't pursue our dreams. There's some clarification of calling or direction, the timing, the season of your life. These can all be deterrents to accomplishing them. But sometimes people don't even dare to dream, and they just wait on confirmation from others. There are many that allow difficult circumstances to determine whether or not to pursue those dreams. Listen, learn to use the pain of struggle as fuel for your dreams. Let them be the challenges that springboard you into your future. When I was a little girl, I had dreams of performing. I loved to sing, dance. I would have taken acting lessons if I could have. But one time I tried to try out for a Broadway play. It was Annie. And it's one of those stories that your family always tells, you know. I remember telling these little girls at school I was going to go to the city for an audition, and everyone was just super jealous. And when I arrived, there were hundreds of little girls my age, all of them with professional headshots, with management, and it was like I never had a chance. I was waiting for hours in that line, and it became clear that I was out of my league. And one little girl went before me and they sounded better than the last. And I remember climbing that long staircase to get up there. I stood on that stage. My family was out, you know, in the audience, and the spotlight went on. The piano started to play the refrain of the song Tomorrow. And I knew the lyrics and I was about to sing. And then all of a sudden the piano player stopped and I completely froze. I didn't know what to do. It was like I was a deer in headlights, you know. And I turned to him questioningly and I was like, and he said, "Thank you, next." I'd allowed a crushing moment in my life to completely deter me from pursuing a dream in performing arts. And, you know, still, even today, I was a worship leader, you know, fear grips me, stage fright, you know, and you have to understand that Walt Disney said, you know, you can dream at any age. I think back as myself as this child, and I don't allow it anymore. It took me a long time. I'm 52 years old. Sometimes I look back and I think even college I didn't finish. All of these things I allowed to be deterrents to me reaching for dreams. And I've now decided I'm no longer going to allow things to stop me. I'm writing again. I'm preaching. I'm singing. You know, I'm living proof that you can do anything you set your mind to. You know, on the other side of that story, there was a little girl in me that was trying to teach my little girl, who is now 23 years old, to become the woman that she is today. You know, I live kind of vicariously through her. You know, the main driving thought behind raising her was to teach her to never let anyone crush her dreams, to be an independent free thinker, to be she's an artist. And around 5 years old, she started drawing, and I noticed she was different than the other kids. I took her to an art school, and they confirmed that she had talent. And fast forward to today, she's graduated from one of the top art schools in Manhattan, Parsons School of Design. And there were many roadblocks that stood in her way. She was partially blind, legally blind in one eye, and she also had to have brain surgery. And let me tell you, she set her mind to it, and she did the things that she wanted to do. She allowed those dreams to become a reality. So I've listed some important things that I really want to go over. And, you know, you have to, number one is assessing the risk of the venture, as long as you don't let it stop you or deter you. But, you know, you have to build a firm foundation. There's a story that goes, is there anyone who planning to build a new house that doesn't first sit down and figure the cost out so you'll know whether or not you can complete it? Sometimes you have to lay a good foundation, and what if you run out of money? You're going to look pretty foolish. People are going to be like, oh, there's that girl. She started something she couldn't finish. You know, I'm a great starter. I'm terrible at finishing. So it's one of the things that I learned from an entrepreneur. Her name is Maria Forleo. She's a writer and a philanthropist, and she works for several years on side jobs while funding her dream. And today, it prepared her to become this millionaire that she is today. You know, number two is fear of failure. It's a big dream stopper. You know, Walt Disney said, you can pursue dreams and have them become a reality. And Marie Forleo said, start before you're ready. Sometimes you have to train your mind to think, you know, well, let's assess, you know, can I do this? Do you believe in yourself? Insecurity and self-doubt, it doesn't go away. Believe me, just do it afraid. So learning to live freely as you were always meant to be leads to this courage, which leads to hope, which leads to freedom, and then you can act. Three is create a plan. Overwhelm is a real thing, let me tell you. You think about a big dream, you're like, how can I do that? You can do it because you can, like an elephant, you can eat an elephant one bite at a time. Walt Disney said, there's a way to succeed. You have to prioritize and follow a strategy. I had to become a self-starter. I had to relearn how to motivate myself. Focus on taking one day at a time. Define your goals and keep it in a physical planner. Sometimes you have to track your project process. You have to think, where do I want to be in 5 years? Then you have to work backwards. You know, break down your goals into monthly, weekly, daily things. Write them down. I say, what can I do today that's going to get me one step closer to my dream? You have to create a path, and then you start it. The fourth thing is the act of writing your dreams down kind of allows you to own them. You know, you have to trust your own inner voice. This is an essential tool in fulfilling your dreams. Like, we all have a unique story. Passions can only point the way, but finding out how you are wired and discovering your identity these are huge parts of discovering where your dream may be taking you. So all these little clues help you to discover your calling on your path. The fifth thing is making space for dreaming is so important. Carve out some time in your schedule. Just sit and think. I create a vision board every January. I put it up in my bedroom so I could say, hey, there it is. It's motivating me every day. I'm taking daily action steps to fulfill my yearly goals. It's a visual that really makes a great big impact. It helps you to assess where you are throughout the year so you can be accomplishing your goals. I start with those monthly, again, weekly, and then daily goal setting. Helps to keep you on track. And there's a sixth thing. Realize that it's going to take you hard work because anything worth having does not come easy. Forgive yourself when you fail and then keep moving forward. Keeping your values and remaining true to who you are throughout your entire journey is going to help you to stay focused. Surrounding yourself with people that will help to support and motivate you is so important. When you have people cheering you on and they can support your passion, then you begin to thrive. Those negativity naysayers, they will drain you and they will stop your progress from fulfilling your dreams. So stop up those ears. What are the dreams that you have been keeping hidden in your heart? When you realize that you have a purpose and a calling that involves your giftings to fulfill that purpose, that's just the beginning. It's exciting to see what, you can accomplish when you decide to choose and to follow your heart. There's a song, of course, a dream is a wish your heart makes, and it's in Cinderella. It's a dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. And I love the story because it's so amazing. Have faith in your dreams and someday your rainbow will come smiling through, it says. Sometimes, no matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, a dream is a wish will come true. I just love it so much. Start pursuing your dreams. You never know. You never know what God has put inside your heart. I'm asking you to continue to go forward. Assess those dreams. Look at what God has planted in your heart and really go for them. God bless.